Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy this series. This is part 2. Uh, Today we're going to be looking at high contrast. High contrast, and in this case with a touch of glamour. The high contrast, usually if you want it to be very high contrast, you limit yourself to 2 colors, one very dark, one very light. These color palettes, they create a mood that is bold, very dramatic, energetic, and it often is used in interior design to add a modern or edgy look to a room or decor or vignette. The black and white is classic in high contrast and always adds a sophistication to an element. Now I call this with glamour because when you add a touch of glitzy in there, like I have done with the fabric that has the little bit of silver lame in it that catches light and shines, okay? The black leaf fabric, it has a little bit of black trim that also has a little bit of glitzy thread in it. That's what I cut the leaf out of. And so between this just little bit of glitz in there adds the glamour to what is already bold, edgy, and sophisticated. Very high contrast. Black and whites are always beautiful, but you can play with other contrasting colors as well. Use a lot of times a complementary palette, a bold aqua green, marine green, with a very light fuchsia. Complementary colors, one very dark and bold, one very light and muted. That would be a high contrasting palette also. But I suggest that for the first time that you do high contrast, you play with the black and white. Now, I have on this in the background, because I knew I wanted to go to the glamour side, I used some white sheer fabric that I had. There's 3 pieces. I had 3 small scrappy pieces, and I put them on here. This one is striped. This one has some white threads running through it. You can see here that also shine. And then this piece right here that has a little bit of pattern on it. So between this background, it already had a lot of pattern going on in it. So I will not be coming in and adding more stitching to that because I don't want to detract from the fabrics themselves in the background, okay? Those are just 3 sheer scraps that I had that I put to the back. Then I had some fabric that, let's see if I got a piece here, yeah. That was from a blouse that I bought at a thrift store and then cut up. You can see this has the lame in it that catches light and shines, okay? So I used that. It's also very sheer in itself. I also found a black blouse at a thrift store that I found and cut up. It has the beautiful gray and it had this black trim running through it. Okay, it had 2 or 3 different decorative ways it was done. I used this section right here, cut my leaves out of it, okay? So you can see that the glamorous fabrics that you might not have right now are easily obtained if you have access to thrift stores of some kind that you can pick up very cheaply. Those blouses, I'm sure, didn't cost me more than $1 a piece. And yet there's a lot of fabric in them. The stitching I'm doing on here is a straight overcast or whip stitch. I'm keeping it very simple. I want to bring out that flower because it's white on white. That's a glamorous look in itself, but you wouldn't be able to really see that flower very well if I didn't use something to bring it forward. So I'm going to use the black as I did there. I had a little bit of eyelash black trim that I put in the center. Not too much, not too powerful. I'm stitching the leaves in just a straight stitch. All right, just outlining them. I will be stitching the flowers. Now, in my pattern, my original pattern, I have this look right here. I have just one flower on each end, okay? What I did was I doubled the flowers. I knew that I was looking for a more glamorous, lush look, and so to do that, I just made the flowers appear more full, more lush by just adding two to them. And so I doubled them up, made them a little bit bigger, and when I stitch around them, it'll be obvious that there are two there. Now what I did was I drew my own little pattern. You can see that. I showed that in the first video. And then I copied that, and then I cut the elements out. And so I'm using these templates that I cut out over and over again, okay? Now, I have been asked, do I have a template for this that's available? I don't, make templates to sell or anything like that, but I do have a file for this template that I can send you if you want to email me, and I can send it to you by email. It'll just look like this, and you'll have to print it out and cut out your templates or whatever you want to do with it. My email is in the description of the video down below. So if you'd like to email me for a file of this that you can print, I'd be happy to send that to you. Thank you. So let's think about, again, that we are keeping, again, sophistication and glamour. It has the bling, but you don't overdo it. Otherwise, you get gaudy and overdone, okay? Now, I think you can tell that when you walk into a room and you have something like this, it grabs your attention. A little bit later, I'm going to compare the first one, the pastel palette, with this one, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to finish stitching this off camera. I'm simply going to use a straight outline stitch, a whip stitch. I use the whip stitch down the stem to adhere that, okay? That's all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to put you through having to watch all that. So I'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Well, I'm back and I have finished the stitching, so let's look and see what I have done here to this part. I want you to see, I brought the camera down so we can get a little closer look at this. And just simple again, all straight stitches, just an overcast stitch and a straight stitch. There's absolutely no fancy embroidery at all, just straight stitches. Very much a beginner-friendly project, very much an easy project for an experienced stitcher, okay? This is, again, a high contrast style because we have two different colors, one dark, one light, black and white, very high contrast. We added a little glamour because of the silver lame and the metallic thread, okay? Now let's look at it next to the pastel palette. Isn't it absolutely amazing how we can change the look, the feel, and the mood of the very exact same thing, same flower, same pieces, laid out the same way, but we changed everything because of the choices we made. when we know in advance what we want to go for and how to get there, it's easy for us to create any piece of slow stitching to fit whatever project we want it to fit. We're not like just making something and then we say, oh, well, does that go with what I need? No, so I have to make it again and again, and finally I get a piece that I like and it goes with this. That's frustrating. But if we know in the beginning how to reach a certain look or a certain feel, then we know how to approach it. We know when we do pastels what our feel is. It's very soft, it's very comforting, it's very safe. We do high contrast, it's very attention getting, it's very bold, it's very edgy, it's out there in your face, it's very confident. And so these are two totally different styles of the very same thing. And it's just amazing how that happens. And so we're going to see this repeat over and over again through this series of looking and creating this same pattern 50 times. And is it boring? It's not to me, because each time I consciously try to affect a mood or a look or a style, I'm creating, I'm drawing on my knowledge, I'm asking my muse to jump in, I'm using all the brain power that I have creatively. It's really working me and causing me to be more and more creative and getting out of the box, so to speak. It's growing me as an artisan, and those things I love. And so it's not boring for me. And every piece that I create in this series will be totally different. And it's just amazing how we can do that with just the very same simple pieces that I have here. These template pieces, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 6 pieces used over and over and over again with different choices, with a vision of reaching a particular destination or mood or feel. And so that's how we're going to learn in this. If you follow me in this series, you can't help but pull out a few things of it in each video that will help you to be more productive, to reach your vision, your destination, easier, quicker, to increase your broaden your knowledge, and make you more successful in your stitching all the way. Now, as we go along, we'll use some different embroidery stitches, but I do like to keep it very simple because I want beginners to absolutely know they can do this. And just simple stitches, you can affect it all with your choices of fabric, color, texture, all those things you put together. Stitching is just the icing on the cake, okay? All right, I hope you enjoyed this. We have 2 of our 50 done, and we have 2 totally, absolutely different looks and feel of the same very pattern. Until next time, let's all stay scrap happy.